You're live. Well, 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 here we are. Let me take a moment to situate everything, and I'll be starting momentarily. This is actually the first YouTube stream that I'm doing, and we're this is a work in progress, folks. Um, all right, okay. Testing 1 2 3 4. 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 Bear, I'm guessing you can hear me? Very good. Okay. Here we are. All right. Okay. Very well. Okay. Good evening, everybody, and everybody that is here, and everybody that may come in. Um, you all know me. My name is Max. The half of Max and Kelly. Basically, this is being recorded. So if you're not catching it live, you can go back. I think it takes 24 hours or something for YouTube to process the video, and so you can replay whatever lessons that I'm going to come up with tonight. So, all right. Basically, this. Um, I'm here really to teach voice for the actor, but one thing I have to say that ever since I've been involved with teaching the acting classes on Zoom, it is very obvious to me that it is very difficult to teach any kind of movement for the actor, and that is really as important as is your vocal training, your memorization, your script analysis, your character development, so on and so forth. Voice you can teach, improvisation you can teach. Movement is another matter, and it's been very challenging for me. And I know how important it is, and if I'm going to be up here in the capacity of an instructor, I really, in good conscience, I've got to figure out ways how to teach you guys how actors move. Probably the best way I can do this is through the different voice techniques, the different exercises, and basically what I'm going to do. This is a series of physical exercises. And like any other kind of physical exercises, you've just got to do them. You've got to practice them. Um, and it's just a matter of discipline. And really, anybody who wants to be an actor, I'm like, you go, you you do it. However, the thing that you do have to keep in mind about acting is that it's work, it's practice, it's continual, it's continual, getting better at what you do, learning new things, learning new nuances and subtleties and new techniques. And when it comes to voice, you don't have to be a singer, but you do, however, have to know how to use your voice properly, because you can actually blow your voice out with improper speaking quicker than with improper singing. And I've had a lot of people, not a lot of people, but some people have said, um, teach me how to do whatever, a British accent, a Brooklyn accent, whatever. Um, and I'm not interested in the rest of the vocal exercises. Okay, that's wrong. Um, you what Because once you know how to do these to access the different parts of your voice, of your physicality, and the parts of your physicality that you know make sound, you can do any accent you want. You can do whatever character voice. You can go on a microphone, you can go on a stage in front of 600 people, whatever. You have to understand how the voice works in order to really use it properly and to get some longevity out of it because, um, as I say, you can blow your voice, and if you wind up doing damage to your vocal cords or vocal folds, they're called now, um, basically, you are as an actor, you are sidelined. Also, if you are a teacher, if you are a coach, if you work in a professional kitchen, if you are trading on the floor of the stock market, if you're an auctioneer, any of these things to where you use your voice, and it's one of your tools. It's part of your your stock and trade. Um, if you lose that, you are just dead in the water, to be honest with you. So without a lot of preamble, I do want to say, um, as we're doing these exercises, room temperature water, okay? No caffeine, no soda, certainly no milk, no dairy, no anything like that. Room temperature water. Um, Now, before you start doing any kind of vocal work, it's very important to understand the difference between vocal warm-ups and vocal exercises, and just like any other physical activity, you need to warm up before you do the exercise. So, if you just launch into start to just doing, like, voice exercises, you actually really can hurt yourself. So, in the course of this, if you're going to do this along with me tonight, or you're gonna just observe or whatever, anytime you go to practice this, if at any point you feel any kind of strain or tension or scratchiness or any kind of discomfort, if your throat starts to get achy, if you feel like muscle pull, like right here where these 2, um bits of your throat connect to the top of your chest right here. If that starts to feel tight and pulled, if you feel any sort of, tension in your jaw, um, if it feels like it hurts, any of that stuff, please stop. Just please stop. Um, and I would say that now, and I've been practicing voice for many, many years. It continually applies. If it hurts, if it's uncomfortable, just please stop. So, um, basically, let's see. Okay. To start at the absolute beginning of this, if you are speaking well, if you are singing well, if you're using your voice well, it's because you are breathing properly. And I go into the breathing a little bit beyond just because it's like the basic technique of using your voice. But aside from that, I'll show you some breathing exercises that also people have talked about they get stage fright, they get anxiety before they're going to perform, or just anxiety in general. The breathing exercises can actually take the edge off of that anxiety and that nervousness. And I mean, when you stop to consider the world we live in and some of the things that go on when you watch the news, if you are feeling anxiety, you're not alone. So this is a good natural way to kind of get that under control. So basically this. If you're going into your voice workout, you really wanna be standing. You can theoretically do it sitting down, however, I would just tell you stand up because when you sit down, you lose about 1/3 of your, air capacity when you sit down, okay? So, preferably be standing and start out with just some basic breathing. Now, imagine that you are breathing through your belly button, okay? And just breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. And actually, let me just bring this down a small bit here. Okay, there we go. Um, Now, once you place your hands over your stomach and just relax with this. And Also for any of these breathing techniques, please be very gentle with yourself. Don't try to force it. Don't try to be aggressive with yourself. Be very, very gentle with yourself because you actually, people who have done voice exercise or pardon me, breathing exercises, and they've just tried to force themselves, they can get very lightheaded and not feel very good at all. And it is possible you can actually hyperventilate and pass out. Please don't. So again, just be very, very gentle with yourself as you do this. And that once you breathe for a few rounds, that is when you can start to make a slight humming noise, make an M. It says, mm, mm. Now, aside from dehydration and tiredness, affecting your voice. Allergies also can really, really mess with you. So I want to show you a couple things. There's basically it's a thing called fourfold breathing or box breathing, and that's basically where you take your thumb and then you take your ring finger and your pinky finger and sort of fold down your index and middle fingers, and you start and you put and it doesn't make any difference which side you start on, but basically you put your thumb up against one of your nostrils and then breathe in through the other nostril and just okay, and then take the other two fingers and then close your nose and then let the thumb go. Exhale out through that nostril. Leave no don't have any air in your lungs, or at least as much as you reasonably can do, and then just leave. It's called like empty empty chalice is the proper term for breathing, but just have no air in your lungs, close it off like that, and then inhale, hold, exhale, hold. So it looks like this. Basically, it's and count for one count, give yourself a certain count, just like hold it for either like 4 seconds or two heartbeats, or just count 1 2 3 4 5 or whatever. Just keep just keep the time of your inhalation, exhalation, and breath hold equal. So basically it's like okay, there's that. There's another one also, and this is particularly good if you're having any kind of allergy stuff, if you have congestion and gook in the sinuses and all that sort of lovely stuff. It's basically as you inhale through your nose, you make a snoring sound, and then as you exhale through your nose, you um, you make a humming sound, and it looks really kind of silly, and it looks like this. Go. Hmm. Remember, it looked like you're breathing through your belly button. Hmm. Hmm. Okay. So start with your breathing. Just get yourself just make sure that your air passages are cleared, and then you start making noise. And what I like to do is we all know about humming and making the M sound. What you would do here actually for this is you make an N sound or an NG sound. And just as you are making this sound, what you want to focus on with yourself is what parts of your face, the bone structure of your face, what part of the bone structure of your chest, your sternum, your ribs, whatever, um, where is it vibrating and buzzing the most? And what you're looking for in this is the maximum amount of buzzing and vibration. Okay. And it looks kind of like this. Mm. and I'm feeling it here. I'm feeling it in like my cheekbones, I'm feeling it down in my jaw. I can feel it in like the top of my throat. And if I do this a few more times, it's going to start to free up in my chest also. And that's basically what you want when you were speaking is you want vibration. That vibration is what makes your voice carry. It's not increasing the volume. It's not, putting more muscle into it. It's putting more vibration into it. And that's what makes sound carry. So, um, so here's a couple things also to show you as you were doing that. Okay. You can take either the heels of your hands or you can take your fingers and then just as you're doing this, you go, and then very just lightly just kind of take your fingers and kind of make them like claws and then just like tap on yourself particularly like down in your ribs and in your face. It's and what happens is that the next thing that you go into is that you eventually start to make the same sound, but you kind of let your jaw just relax and just come open. And whatever sound comes out is whatever sound comes out. Okay. And it's like, and then make sure that you tap on your back a bit because you can actually when people are using their voice their backs can get very tense and that also restricts the amount of air that you're able to have circulate in and out of your body. So the next thing, and y'all, if you've had me in class, you've seen me do this. We start doing things like lip trills, like brrr, 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 and then okay, from this point, we start moving into making vowel sounds. And really, the point of this is really to be as physically relaxed as you possibly can be. And we start out with an ah sound, like an ah. Oh. Now, as you're doing this, notice in your body or specifically up in your mouth, where does it feel like that vowel sound is coming from? Is it coming from your lips or is it coming from the top of your throat, back of your mouth? There's two kinds of vowels. You got a front vowels and back vowels. And front vowels like an e, and you can feel the vibration on your lips, and you can feel the vibration up in your nose, and e, and then o would be a back vowel. It's kind of like, and you would feel that really specifically back more back in towards where your jawbone connects to your skull. It's like, oh. And I just noticed that. Okay. And just kind of take inventory as you practice this. Now, there's a couple of warm up exercises that I want to throw in here. Then I'm going to add them to what we just did. That basically, to get rid of any kind of tension in the back of your tongue, in the root of your tongue, that's another place where you can get physical tension and it messes with the amount of sound that you're able to put out. Basically, take the tip of your tongue, put it on the back of your bottom teeth, and then push your tongue forward, and it looks like this. As you're doing that, also make your vowel sounds. Uh, 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 uh. The other part of that is if you can roll your tongue, fantastic. Some people can't, but the point is if you can't, just try. But it looks like 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 such. And the warm-up exercise goes, "Ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh, ah, ooh." Now, at this point, another thing you can do is y'all probably know this, but in your mouth, you have your hard palate up on top, and that's towards the front, and then your soft palate is towards the back. Now, take the tip of your tongue, put it behind your top teeth, and then slowly pull your tongue back and see where your soft palate turns into your hard palate and where your hard palate turns into your soft palate. And it's and see how far back you can stretch it and then bring it back. Okay. Then as we're doing this, then start making vowel sounds, bringing the tongue along the hard and soft palate and see how that changes. Now, the shape of your mouth is not going to change as you're making these vowel sounds. It's just the placement of your tongue and where you're focusing the sound. Is it coming from your hard palate or is it coming from your soft palate? It's like, and again, I'm just moving the tip of my tongue from the top, from the back of the top teeth back across the roof of my mouth. And also, as you do this, you're going to notice that the vibrations can start, and that's exactly what you want. So, um, now, okay, in light of movement, there's some now, um, is full disclosure, basically these next few classes are kind of like if this were stand-up comedy, I'm sort of rehearsing, and I'm going to like the Monday night open mic. So this is just a lot of notes that I've gathered over the months. Um, and as I say, movement is something that's very challenging to teach actors on Zoom. But I'm going to try a couple things here. Okay. If you have any rotator cuff problems or shoulder problems, don't do this. But basically, you're going to take your arm and move it in a circle, and then basically you start just kind of bend your knees a little bit, and then you inhale, and then when you get up to the top, just exhale and just kind of drop. Now, the method to this madness, and we actually used to do this. This was in a Shakespearean company I was in. We used to do this. Basically, you do that sort of movement, but you practice your vowel sounds on top of that. And the whole key is that when it comes time for the arm to go down, don't don't try to force it down. Don't just let it just drop. It sounds like ha 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 ho 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 he 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 hi 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 hi. Now, as I'm doing that, I feel no my throat feels perfectly fine. It's coming from down here and it's coming from the back of my mouth is how that sound is being produced. My vocal folds are not being brought into it at all, which is what you want. Um, the other things you can do, I'm kind of in a confined space here, but um, you will sort of turn your torso, okay? And as you come from the side, you inhale, and then as you go to the side, you exhale, and it's like, and you start to make your vowel sounds doing just this. And hey, hi, ho, who, he, hey, hi, ho, who, hey, he, hi, ho, who. Okay, as such. Now, and I wanted to show you also um, one thing that for actors also is really important is your eyes, the use of your eyes. Now, this we can teach on camera. We used to do, and I just, as I'm looking at myself, you're probably not going to be able to see this particularly well, but try. Look up, look to the side, look down, look to the side, look up, look down, and then just move your eyes. As you're moving your eyes, make some vowel sounds. Hey, I, ooh. Um, Another thing, just as far and eye exercises are particularly if you're going to be doing camera acting, um, eye exercises become really important. One thing you can do for this, and I'll show you the movement, and then the sound will come in after that. But basically, you look at the palm of your hand, okay, and you just start to turn from side to side, and as you get to the side, bring your other hand up and follow, and do nothing but look at the palm of your hand. You go to the side, bring it up. This is actually in Tai Chi. This is an exercise called cloud hands or wave hands like clouds. And I will say, if you're really interested in being an actor and getting into movement, particularly Tai Chi is a wonderful thing. I could always, after I did a Tai Chi practice session, my voice was just so much clearer. But again, as you are following the palm of your hand, then start to make some vowel sounds, just gently. Start, inhale, hey, he, hi, ho, who, and so forth. Another couple of things that I want to show you movement wise, and there's a real method to this madness. These next two exercises, you basically kind of you sort of get your feet about shoulder width apart, roughly, maybe a bit more. Put a little bit of like a loose bend in your knees, and basically what you're going to do is you're going to sort of do like boxers, like crosses, okay, and then start here, and then just inhale and grab, inhale, grab, inhale, 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 inhale. And then once you've got enough oxygen in you, that's when you start to exhale, and that's when you start making more vowel sounds. It's like, hey, he, hi, ho, who, hey, he, hi, ho, who, a, e, I, o, u, a, e, I, o, u. And then inhale as you're turning, and then continue. A, E, I, O, U. And the other one, and I'm going to explain the method to the madness in just a second here. Basically, a good sense of physical balance is key to is key to good stage movement. So basically, if y'all can see this, you're going to just gently kick as high as you reasonably can without straining, but just like with the arms and the punches, the kicks go side to side like this. And the idea is to not hold on to anything, and then just get a good, comfortable rate of respiration, and then start to make vowel sounds. A, E, I, O, U. And what you want to do is focus on a point in front of you. And if you focus on that point, your balance becomes it just falls into place so much easier. Basically, E, I, O, U. Now, part of the method of the madness of that, and there's actually some science behind this. Part of the reason that you are crossing over the center line of your body is that you are getting both sides of your brain active at the same time. And as I've said, so much of the purpose of these classes at base, we're here to teach creative thought. We're just doing it through acting methods. Um, but that is if you start for an equal amount of times crossing over the center line of your body, both sides of your brain start talking to each other simultaneously. So, I'm going to show you a few more um, vowel sounds. Pardon me. I'm going to show you some more vowel sounds, but now we start getting into one thing is a wonderful voice exercise is to get into tongue twisters. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, that sort of a thing. And of course, the pencil. So just a few that I would like to do here is la la ye, la la you. La la ye, la la you. And notice how my lips are making kind of exaggerated movements. La la ye, la la you, la la ye, la la you, la la ye, la la you, la la ye, la la you. La la ye, la la you, la la ye, la la you, la la li, la la ye, la la you, la la ye, la la you. And of course, make sure that as you're doing this pencil exercise, whether you're doing the tongue twisters, whether you're practicing your monologue, remember to pretend like the sound is coming out over the top of the pencil. And make sure that you drink your water. A particularly good song to sing while you're doing the pencil exercise is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. And it's because of the consonants. So, twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, how I wonder where you are. Um, and let's see, also I want another good one is Luddle Laddle. Luddle Laddle. Luddle Laddle, Luddle Laddle, Luddle Laddle, Luddle Laddle, Luddle Laddle. Luddle Laddle, 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 Luddle Laddle. And then also ya ya ye, ya ya you, ya ya ye, ya ya you, ya ya ye, ya ya you, ya ya ye, ya ya you. Ya ya ye, ya ya you, ya ya ye, ya ya you, ya ya ye, ya ya you, ya ya ye, ya ya you. And again, if you've had me in class, we've done this next bit we've done before. And this is old school voice for the actor. This is tutica, 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 buddy gudda, buddy gudda, buddy gudda, tippet, pippet, tippet, pippet, tippet, pippet. So Chatika, 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 chatika. Buddy gotta, buddy gotta, buddy gotta, buddy gotta, buddy gotta, buddy gotta. Tippet, pippet, tippet, pippet, tippet, pippet, tippet, pippet. Also, red leather, yellow leather. Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather. At this point, your voice is probably getting warmed up, one would hope. And this is when we can start actually sort of coming up with some projection. And the ones that we used to do were a loud sound, a round tone, and hold your vowels. And the way we would practice projection, actually, we would have partners, but for this, the microphone will be my partners. A loud sound, a round tone, hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone, hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone, hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone, hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone, hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone, Hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone. Hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone. Hold your vowels. A loud sound, a round tone. Hold your vowels. And stuff like that. All right. Um, okay. And I want to talk about this as well because this is something I've known about this technique, and then just as I've started teaching it, I started to find out all manner of other things that come with this. It's called it's a plain old drinking straw phonation. Okay, and if y'all haven't seen this, basically it's just a plain old straw from Wendy's, and you stick it in your mouth, and you attempt to speak and particularly to sing through this. But there's actually a long series of exercises, and I came to discover this is also used by speech therapists to help people get over things like stutters and lisps and stammering and things like that. I also just discovered that apparently um, it's used as physical therapy for people who have gone through throat surgery for vocal node removal and things like that. But stick the straw in your mouth, and you're only gonna the air's only gonna come out through your straw. Don't exhale through your nose, and make sure that you're not losing any kind of air from your lips around the straw. And there's assorted things you can do, but just there's these exercises where you go sort of like too short, one long. And two songs, if you can, it's probably not going to sound like it, but two good songs to sing while you have the straw in your mouth are "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot" and the national anthem. And the reason being that there's some ups and downs in those songs that they're very, very challenging to sing. Um, but you would start doing things like the sort of it's called sirens, but you start going from like the bottom of your voice to the top of your voice, and on the YouTube playlist for voice, I do have some exercises for straw phonation. It's really good. It really sets your voice where it should be. It just sort of like it sort of like reboots your whole vocal mechanism. Um, but then you start to do things like um, okay. And that's really good for breath control. Also, that's very, very good for breath control. There's a whole bunch more stuff I could show with that, but I'm going to save that for another time. Now, let's see. And at some point or other, as you're doing your vocal practice, and I want to show a couple of movement things to go along with it as well. It comes down to you do need to practice some kind of performance. And also another thing we do need to touch on with you guys is the whole thing of cold reading, of being given a script out of nowhere, and they go, act this. Um, there's a way to do this, and it's frankly just practice more so than anything. I'm going to defer to the higher genius of my wife, who wants me to read Yes, Virginia, There Is a Santa Claus. But I've read this a couple times, but You can actually get scripts to where it's like you've never ever seen it before, or something out of a magazine or whatever. Uh, just sort of don't look, open a page, stick your finger, and basically what I'm going to do is as I read this, um, I'm going to look at a bunch of words. Then I'm going to look up and I'm going to say the words. And then as I'm still saying the words, I'll look back down and find out what my next bunch of words is going to be. It's a technique and it is practice. It is practice, practice, practice. But I would honestly tell you, get good at this. See. There would be no childlike faith then, no poetry, no romance to make tolerable this existence. We should have no enjoyment except in sense and sight. The eternal light with which childhood fills the world would be extinguished. And as you cold read, the last line you always wanted to deliver it out. Um, and also, because people do ask about voices and dialects and so forth. There's one voice I've kind of been working on, the voice of Bruce Lee, actually. And again, just take whatever bit of text you can find, and if practice whatever dialect you want to practice whatever character voice you want to practice. But Bruce Lee would kind of sound something like, not believe in Santa Claus. You might as well not believe in fairies. You might as well get your papa to hire men to watch all the chimneys on Christmas Eve to catch Santa Claus. But even if they did not see Santa Claus coming down, what would that prove? And again, I've got a bunch of books down here, and I would just pick it up and just pick the random pages and just start practicing my cold reading, practicing whatever dialect, whatever character voice. We have, like, for instance, Julia Child, The Way to Cook. Broccoli sauced cauliflower. Rather than the usual parsley to decorate steamed cauliflower, anoint it with a sprinkle of broccoli flour. Buds in lemon butter sauce, as described in the preceding recipe. Reading out loud is just, honestly, that's one of the best acting exercises that you can do for your voice, for your performance. And something else, and a little movement thing that I want to pass along as well. It's called a mechanical aid. I've got A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the poetry of Mr. Rogers. Basically, the mechanical aid, and this helps people who have speech impediments. I used to have one myself, and this helped me a lot. It's like you basically take your finger, and I've seen Christina Aguilera, the singer, actually do this while she's singing. But basically, you take your finger and kind of let your finger dictate what your voice is going to do. If you got an hour, now's the time to share it. If you got a flower, wear it. This is just the day. If you got a plan, now's the time to try it. If you got an airplane, fly it. This is just the day. It's the day for seeing it is the day for seeing all there is to see. It's the day for being just you, just me. If you've got a smile, now's the time to show it. If you've got a horn, then blow it. It's the minute to begin it. This is just the day. And if I had more room, we would practice monologues like this, and eventually it would start just very simple with just one hand, and you would just start to let the sound of your voice sort of carry your body, and go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, HIJKLMNOP, QRSTUVWXY, then there's Z. Now I know my ABCs. Next time, won't you sing with me? And we would do Shakespeare to that. To be or not to be, that is the question. And you're obviously not going to perform it like this, but you want to incorporate your full voice and your body movement at the same time. To be or not to be, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. Because I know I've said in class so many times, when you're doing your monologues, sing it, dance it as well. Dance it as well. Let me see, what else do I want to cover with you guys? There's so much to talk about, really. And I think I want to finish. And this is a whole other broad subject, and we are and I'm just going to finish up in a couple of minutes here. But if you don't, if you never really used your voice before, there are many different parts of your voice that come from different locations in your body, and you need to know all those locations and have as many as you and just get good as many of them as you possibly can, because you really want to take the pressure off of your vocal cords, your vocal folds. When you do these voice exercises, your vocal cords should be doing this. That's what you want. You don't want this. Okay. Okay. You want this, not this. This is how you get calluses on your vocal cords and basically sideline yourself. Okay. But basically, everybody kind of has this speaking voice. You have a calling voice and you have a head voice primarily. Um, the speaking voice is this. It's just however you would speak in everyday conversation. This is it. The calling voice is if there's somebody across a parking lot, you've got to get their attention. It's hey, you, hey, you. All right. That comes from down here. If when you go to do that calling voice, you go there, hey, you there. If when you do that, if you feel any kind of like slamming or any kind of, um, irritation on your vocal cords in your throat, sink your voice down. Now, then you also have the head voice, and I'll show you something in just a second here. But the head voice, also called the falsetto voice, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Now, you sort of do these. This is why singers sing scales. You don't have to sing scales, but just to take your voice from all the way as far down as it can go to as far up as it can go, and just ooh, and you'll discover that between your speaking voice, your calling voice, and your head voice, there'll be like breaks in your range. And that's just it. Just practice that, and I'll touch on other stuff that concerns those breaks in your range, but just sort of do your up and down, do your sirens, and ooh, and there's a break. Ooh, and I just had the break in the voice. And now also, if you go down below your deepest voice, there's a thing called a fry tone, and that's basically monster voices. And that's if you ever listen to heavy metal, this is where they get that from. It's but you start out going at the top of your range, and then get all the way down here, and then and this is where you get this sort of monster voice. This is where you get this I'm going to kill someone kind of voice. And the funny thing about this, it's not hurting my throat at all. I'm getting it from I'm feeling pressure down here, and I'm feeling it up in my sinuses, but I am not feeling any kind of discomfort on my throat. And that's very important to know because you also have a clean voice and a dirty voice or a gritty voice. And fry is where the gritty stuff comes in. Like clean vocals are like opera singers. Clean vocals are like, jazz singers like Mel Torme or people like that. Dirty vocals, that's like blues singers. That's like, John Lee Hooker, Howlin' Wolf, any amount of, rock and roll people. Um, stuff like that. But your clean voice should be very, very crisp. You should not be um you shouldn't have any sort of scratching. There should be no sort of distortion. All the vowels should be very clean and the consonants should be very crisp. This is what a clean voice sounds like. Now, a dirty voice, and this is where you start to put your fry voice into it. Yeah, and again, if you're doing this and you're feeling any kind of like dryness, scratchiness, whatever, it's because you're focused up here, not down here. And, I can actually talk like that for a good while before it's just and what will happen is, like, I'll just physically get tired, the muscles will get tired down here, and that's when it shifts up, and it starts putting more pressure on the vocal cords, and that's not what you wanna do. So, um, anyway, um there's a lot we can talk about, and, one thing I would really just as I'm trying to incorporate more movement into it, please realize this is a challenge to try to teach, movement for actors on this in this format. If y'all come up with any kind of ideas, suggestions on how we can do things like this, I would love to hear from you. Please feel free to, reach out to me with any ideas you may have. Um but I think for this evening, actually, I'm gonna call it a night here. Um, Thank y'all for whether you're watching it now or you're watching it later or whatever. I do want these to become a regular thing, and it helps me. And if I can help other people in the course of doing that as well, then that's certainly what I'll do. So, anyway, friends and neighbors, thank you so much for your attention. I hope this helps. I'll just say the subject of voice, in case I haven't said this to anybody. The subject of voice is very, very close to my heart. I actually had a speech impediment um, until I was 15 years old. I had a very, very bad pronounced stutter. I could not, as you hear me speaking like this, I could not have done this. And I eventually got speech therapy. The stutter went away after much practice and work and so forth. And then some years later, I got into theater and I took a classical voice for the stage, sort of thing. And my instructor is doing some of these exact exercises. My instructor was doing the same thing as my speech therapist was doing. And so for me, this subject is very, very near and dear to my heart. And it's my privilege and honor and delight to teach this stuff. So on that note, dear ones, I am going to call it an evening. I'm going to say thank you very much, and we'll see you in a few nights. If you know of anybody who this would help, please feel free to let them know about this. Join in on this. We're figuring out the whole technical aspect. We're trying to figure out how to. When is the best time to announce this on social media, so on and so forth. So, but this is a work in progress. So, I want to thank my lovely wife who is upstairs being the moderator, and thank you, sweetie. I very much appreciate this. So, on that note, I'm going to call it an evening and say thank you very much, my friends, and be well. Good night, everybody.